Hey friends, it's your girl Noella and welcome back to my channel. Oh my god, happy new year. Like, where did 2019 go? Anyways, do you remember when I said I almost got kicked out of my master's program in this video? Well, in this video, I'm going to be telling you all about it, so keep watching. Do you remember when I said that I don't think anyone should be spending more than 4 years in getting a 4-year degree? Like, my thing was that I was not going to spend more than 4 years completing my undergrad program. Like, that's why it's a 4-year program. Well, that was foolish of me to say, because I'm going to be spending an extra year, which is going to make it 5 years of undergraduate studies. So how did this happen? Well, let us backtrack to fall 2019. It's a new semester and technically my last fall semester of my undergraduate studies. I am so pumped, and I decided to take on 6 classes. Yes, you heard me. 6 classes, a job, an internship, while also continuing my responsibilities. Like, now that I'm saying it, I wonder why I made that decision in the first place. It is okay to take 6 classes, that's if you can handle it. But at that point in time, I could not perform my best in those 6 classes while also taking care of other personal responsibilities. So out of the 6 courses that I took, I struggled with 3. The first one I struggled with was an Excel course. This was a 2-credit course, and it might sound easy to you, but it was all about learning how to use Excel professionally. Now I do know how to use Excel, but I really wanted to learn how to use it professionally. And also, catch this, you could take an exam at the end of the course to get a certificate, which is a great resume builder. Learning how to use it professionally was putting a lot of strain on me because it included a lot of readings. And I found myself going on YouTube where most of the Excel homework answers were available. So in short, I was not benefiting from this class, so I had to drop it. Which was a bummer, of course, because I would have really loved to have a certificate from that course. The second course that was challenging for me was organic chemistry. Yes, like seriously, my first exam score was like 60 something. Like, that's the lowest grade I've ever gotten in my 4 years of college. And so I had to sit up and study more and go for tutoring, which wasn't really helpful. I don't know about you, but I really don't do well with student tutors. So I visited the student tutor only once, and I would meet up with the professor the week of the exam to go over stuff from my own personal study. And that's how I improved on the second and the third exam. And thankfully, I got a B on the course, which is a passing grade and the recommended grade for me to continue my master's program, because OrgoChem is a prerequisite for my master's program. Now, if I had failed OrgoChem, I would have had to repeat it and get a better grade. So thank God I did not fail it. The third and most difficult course for the fall semester was research methods. Oh my goodness, just the sound of it. So there are a couple of things that made this course really challenging for me, and number one is it was my first master's course. At Simmons in the 4+1 program, you are expected to take 2 master's courses in your senior year. So one in the fall semester and one in the spring semester. So research methods was what I took in the fall semester. The second reason would be that the course was mainly concept based. For example, we were learning things like cohort studies, case control studies, retrospective studies, prevalence and cumulative incidents, regression, chi-square, things that you would normally hear in an epidemiology course. However, the problem was that we were not actually implementing this information that we had gotten. I think what would have made me understand and enjoy this course very well would have been if I had carried out a research on my own using one of the methods. That way it would have stuck with me more, and I would have felt more confident to use the materials that I learned for future purposes. The third reason would be we only had 2 exams. Like, I'm not kidding you. We had the midterm and the final, and that was it. The midterm was 20% of your grade and the final was 30% of your grade. Imagine 2 exams being 50% of your entire grade. Apart from the midterm and final exams, we had 10 quizzes. Now, these quizzes were timed for 15 minutes and you did not have a second trial. Also, some of these quizzes would include calculations, and the trick that I used when I saw quizzes that had calculations was to do the calculation question first and then go to the multiple choice. Speaking about multiple choice, the quizzes were in different formats. Some were multiple choice, some were short answers. So you just had to work with the time you had, which really wasn't enough time. However, it was 5 questions. So on the other hand, you can technically say that you 15 minutes for 5 questions is enough. Apart from the midterm, the final, and the 10 quizzes, we had 7 critical appraisers. The critical appraiser was a research study done that the professor would give us with questions based on the topic of that day. We were supposed to answer the question, which the professor eventually went over in the next class. So how was the quizzes and the critical appraisal scored? Now, the quizzes were 5, so there were 5 points. If you got 1, you got 1 point. If you got 2, you got 2 points, and so on. And if you got 0, you actually got 0 points. On the other hand, the critical appraisals were scored from 0 to 1. If you didn't do it, you get a 0. If you did it and you got a substantial amount right, you get a 1. If you got mostly right, you get a 1.5. And then if you get all right, you get a 2. I know, right? Weird grading system. I think I did good in my quizzes and my critical appraisals. I think I got like an 80 something, an average. But where I actually flunked was in my midterm. I got a 60 something. Again, one of my 2 lowest grades in one semester. Can you imagine how painful that was? And again, I made changes. I started going for tutoring. I tutored with another professor that was teaching the same course to get a different perspective and a different explanation of the topics that we were learning in class. I actually did better in my final exam. I got like an 80 something, almost a 90. Which is a good grade. But my midterm score was so bad that it pulled my other grades down, and I eventually got a C+. My first C+ in my entire college career. So it was a wake-up call for me, and it was hard to accept the C+ because I had done everything. At that point, I had dropped the Excel course. I was down to 5 courses, and I was just working my butt off. I actually stopped going to work for a while, and on Saturdays I would go to the library and I would study. But I learned a lot from this process, and I think the number 4 thing with that course was that it's a night course. Now, my brain is active in the morning. I can wake up 5 a.m. in the morning to get to an 8 a.m. class, which I'm going to be having in the spring semester. But I do not do well with night classes. This class was from 6 p.m. to 8:50 p.m. And as a commuter, I had to leave at 8:30 in order to catch the bus to get home at 11. If I had left later than that, I would be home probably at 12 midnight or even past, depending on the bus schedule. So I missed 20 minutes of class, and a lot can be covered in 20 minutes. So that was another downside to me failing that course. But enough of the sad story. What did I learn, and what can you take out from this? I think the most important thing that I've learned from this process is do not take up more than you can handle. I would say I always put this pressure on myself to graduate in 4 years, because that's what an undergraduate degree is. Then going to my master's, graduate in 1 or 2 years. And so the 6 classes, I'm trying to finish up early, trying to juggle work, school, internship, responsibilities in my family, church, friends, and just self-care. And I just fell short in juggling all that. It was just too much for me mentally, physically. It was draining, and it took me failing this course to actually sit down, take a break, and understand that I am going to get to my goal eventually, and it is okay to take an extra semester. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's okay to take an extra semester. It's okay to take an extra year, even if it's going to prolong your journey. As long as you keep going, as long as you keep reaching for your goal, you are going to get there eventually. And I know we always look at our goals, we make goals, we want to reach them, we aim for them, but we always forget the process. And also, it really took me time to understand that an undergraduate course is different from a master's course. Like, the grading system is different. Imagine your exams are 50% of your entire grade. That would never happen in an undergraduate course. Like, I've never experienced that. I think taking this course also prepared my mind going into my master's program, what to expect and how to prepare more and be better and be more aware of what's going on. So I have 8 more courses. I have 4 for this spring semester, and then 4 for spring 2020. So I have May to December off, which I'm going to talk about in another video, but I do smell a study abroad program in the future. So did I get kicked out of my master's program? To be honest, I was ready to just pack my bags, cry, and just graduate without continuing my master's, because I read somewhere that you could not get less than a B in your master's courses. But after talking to one of the professors of my master's program, I was put on probation. and I would have to take this course again and get a better grade to be taken on probation, which is a fair judgment rather than being kicked out of my master's program. Thank you so much for watching. If you loved this video, please hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and enjoy the process. Until next time, bye.